What's happening, guys? Chris VA Travels here in Lewes, Delaware, the oldest town and the oldest state in the country. And going to be visiting the RYVES-HOLT House, and it's the oldest house in Delaware that's still standing on its original foundation. Okay, and as you see, kind of a smaller house. Not going to be too long of a video. And you'll see there was an add-on to the left, or possibly to the right. You'll see right in the middle, there's a split. That center chimney up there. But built between 1665 and 1686, making it one of the 50 oldest buildings in the United States. Pretty insane. And it's home to Jacob Jones, a War of 1812 military hero. And let me walk up, take a closer look, and you see the shingle siding, kind of unique. As you see, they're open 10 until 4. I believe every day except for Monday, and they suggest a $5 donation, so I'll make sure to drop that off. Let me check out this plaque. To give you some history, the house was built by Quaker immigrants. That would be Philip and Sarah Russell. And they ran it as a tavern. And he was actually a cupbearer for William Penn. And then a cupbearer is just an old-fashioned name for a bartender. Fast forward 1723, it was sold to the RYVES-HOLT. Hope I'm pronouncing that name right. And he was an English lawyer out of Philadelphia, lived here for about 40 years. And then in 1776, his step-great-grandson, the Jacob Jones, is listed as living here. And yeah, famed naval commander, like I say, War of 1812. Okay, let me take a look at the back and obvious add-on right here. A little walkout on top of the porch. And to finish out the timeline, 1836, sold to a John Marshall. And his family lived here for 145 years. 1988, it served as offices for the St. Peter's Episcopal Church, which is next door. And then in 1997, the Lewes Historical Society began giving tours. So, big cedar right next to it. And what's going on with these stones? And I guess this is part of the graveyard right here. Are there ashes in there? Is that what's going on? And a lot of people, I guess, are still alive, it looks like. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. But yeah, some serious tombstones right here. And this church goes back to the 1680s. Okay, it's part of the church as well. All right, so yeah, we'll just take a look at this side. Pretty neat place to sit down right here. All right, let me sneak through this gate with the ball and chain on it. And if you come to Lewes, you'll see parking meters everywhere. You'll have to use the Park Mobile app. All right. This last shot. But yeah, still serves as a mercantile store. And here he is, the Jacob Jones, boy, man, hero. But yeah, a great place to walk around. Yeah, and several Victorian era houses in the area. Nice mansard roof on this thing. But great town to walk around. I actually did a walking tour a couple years ago. I come out here each year. My family vacations here, so. But yeah, let me go in, take the tour. All right, we'll take a look around the inside. And this is mostly going to be a museum dedicated to the naval history of Jacob Jones. And there's a few other things to look at. Here's a model of his sloop of war, the Wasp. 3-mast ship, and it looks like 8 cannons on each side. And this model was put together in 2012. Sketching of what it originally looked like. And it says here the house is a typical English 1.5-story hall plan dwelling house. Sketching from years later, 1723. And this is when RYVES-HOLT bought it.
You'll see a room was added on the back and a window now on the side. An octant right here, navigational tool that was used in the late 18th century. To give you some history on it, they say it was actually invented by Isaac Newton. He had designed the reflecting quadrant as early as 1677, but his work wasn't published until after his death and after 2 other guys had been given credit. I'll tell you, Jacob was born in 1768 near Smyrna. He was orphaned at the age of 6, brought to live in this house 1774, lived here throughout the Revolution until 1786. His naval assignments: lieutenant on many ships, master commanding captain of the Wasp there, okay, 1816. Write-up of his capture of the Frolic. Staffordshire plate going back to 1815. Yeah, I can only guess how old these boards are. And I'll tell you that according to Marine William Ray, that Mr. Jones was a calm, mild, and judicious officer, and he was beloved by all the seamen. Oh wow, this is his certificate of appointment to captain by President James Madison, circa 1813. And yeah, this is a famous painting here, the Wasp and the Frolic. It was done in 1820. It's of the naval action that occurred October 18th, 1812. Alright, so we're entering the ship quarters aboard the Wasp. Yeah, here he is, full attire. And I keep getting Jacob Jones mixed up with John Paul Jones. And it looks like he's thinking over a battle plan. Traveling desk. And a lot of times you can find secret compartments in these things. Blueprint of the Wasp. And they're saying it was done in 1932. Certificate of his membership into the Society of the Cincinnati. A letter he had written to Commodore John Rogers. Almost looks like there's a drop of blood on it. And these naval victories over the British were a big deal, especially coming from an upstart country like the US. And one senior member of the British Parliament lamented the sacred spell of the invincibility of the British Navy has been broken. Rear Admiral J.P. Beresford, and he's the British commander that laid siege upon Lewes during the War of 1812. Yeah, fired over 800 shells on the city over a 22-hour period. And if you're ever in town, a great place to visit is the Cannonball House, a house that was damaged during Beresford's bombardment of Lewes, and it now serves as a museum. And we've got a timeline of naval battles during the war, and victory over the HMS Java by the USS Constitution. Yeah, the Macedonia. Finally, the Wasp and the Frolic. Final room back here. And more fragments, broken up case bottle, clay bowl, and just a rounded bottle behind it. Yeah, like I say, they don't have an exact date of the construction of the house. Dendrochronology dates it back to 1665, but the first known recording of its existence wasn't until 1685. Ashlar brick wallpaper, recreated from documents found on site, 1830 to 1850. See, they have the upstairs blocked off, but stairs are definitely original. Stepped into the room next door, which is the mercantile shop, and in the 1700s it was run by Mary Hutz.
There were a couple loose pages I could copy. And obviously 3 columns for pounds, shilling, and pence. Yeah, there are her purchasers and the amount they purchase. And we know what she was selling. She was selling everything from imported Chinese ribbons and nails to bonnets and stockings. I mean, you can see what's in there. Her #1 seller was rum, coming up out of the Caribbean. And she had coffee and sugar and chocolate and all sorts of things.
Just wanted to take a look at some of the older items in here. Oh, and I'll tell you, the first European settlers here in Lewes were actually the Dutch. Yeah, founded a colony in 1631.
Pretty cool hanging out in a 350-year-old house. Also need to learn a little about Jacob Jones, a figure I never knew too much about. And again, I highly recommend visiting Lewes if you're ever in the Rehoboth Beach, Dewey Beach area. A lot to see, several other museums, a museum dedicated to the first Dutch settlers going back to 1630. There's also, right behind me at the end of the road, a campus of historic buildings, about 12 buildings that they moved to a little area down there. All right, well, I'm gonna grab some lunch and get out of here. As always, guys, like and subscribe. See you on the next one.